parallel compression. I feel like a lot of people, when they're starting out, they're using parallel compression because they hear engineers like yourself talk about it, and they just take an 1176, they hit all buttons in, they pin the meter, they push it up until something sounds bigger, but they never think about that compressed signal. So can we talk about the actual compressed signal? How are you approaching that compression and attack and release, and what are you thinking about?
Well, you're not going to like my answer that much because it doesn't matter what it sounds like on its own at all. Like not even a little bit.
Okay.
Because like one of the drum parallel crush things in my template, and it's been there since the very first time I was doing anything in the box, which is before I had a console. It's Fairchild plugin,
Right.
right? You put that on drums? Sure you do. So it's Fairchild. It's set up kind of like it would be on drums. If you listen to it on its own, it's pretending to be a Fairchild, which means it's pretending to have low end and be slow and whatever. When you blend it in as a parallel thing, stuff gets brighter.
Yeah.
Okay, so I don't know why. So there you go. Okay, here's the thing. A parallel compressor should be more compressed than you would ever put on the insert directly. Because you only want to blend in a little bit. But the way to think about parallel compression in general is if you put an insert compressor on something, it reacts to the loud stuff, right? Below the threshold, it leaves everything alone.
Mm-hmm.
Above the threshold, it turns it down a lot. If you're compressing a lot at a high ratio.
Right.
When you've got something absolutely crushed and you're blending it in, you still have your uncompressed signal. So you've got full range with all of your transients, all the stuff above what the threshold would have been completely untouched. And then you start slamming this slab of the same sound, but doesn't have the dynamic range, and you're blending it in. It's not exactly this, but technically you're making the quiet stuff louder instead of the loud stuff quieter. And the character of that is what I like. It has nothing to do with it's bigger if you do it one way or whatever. I love the sound of an uncompressed vocal. I love the sound of uncompressed drums. The transients on uncompressed kicks and snares are like they surprise you. They're so awesome. You start compressing, the drum kit will sound cool, you'll get some great noise going on, but the kick and snare don't make you laugh when they're way too loud. Like that's a thing. There's some emotional thing to really getting pummeled with the transients.
Yeah.
So you use parallel compression to get the drums so that you can slam a bunch of guitars over them but still hear them. But you still have your transients. So that's why. But to be fair, over the last year and a half, I've gotten to the point where I am using almost no parallel compression anymore.
Wow.
Almost none. The rear bus hasn't made an appearance in a mix in probably a year. Like, yeah.
How are you getting that same quiet stuff up?
I don't know. I mean, part of it is if I'm mixing something that has already like been mixed, well, then I don't need it. There's no room for it anyway.
That's also true.
But even on the stuff that isn't like that, it's not about, technically what I get at the other end. It's that I no longer like the sound of it as much.
Right.
So mixes are taking me longer because I'm not just like, ooh, cool, that is my starting point. Because I really do have to do everything individually, which I'm sure that part of the internet will be very happy because apparently putting anything on your mix bus is cheating. I didn't realize that. But everything I do is bespoke, but you're silly if you don't have a template of some sort because it's like automating stuff. You're going to be building the same stuff over and over and over.
Yeah.
But yeah, I just don't like the sound of it as much. And my mixes are a little quieter because of it, which is crazy for me because I'm the loud guy. Yeah, but parallel compression, don't spend a huge amount of time listening to what the parallel thing is. Spend a huge amount of time listening to it as you blend it in as a parallel thing.
Which I think is the best advice all around for all mixing. People are like, what's your mixing tip? I'm like, when you're turning the guitars up, listen to the vocal. Like, listen to everything else. Like, so yeah, you're right. Solo, we all know solo doesn't always help.
Yeah, I mean, it's good to find out like what it is.
Yeah.
But then it doesn't matter what you do until it's back in context.
So listening to everything you said, I translate as faster attack though, because do you want to kill those transients in those parallel tracks, or you let those live?
No, because it'll actually double them up. Compressors in general, I'm slow attack, fast release.